The idea behind public is really simple. Think about the last time you were in a foreign city trying to figure out where to go for dinner, right? You didn't know much about the different restaurants in the area, but you needed a place to eat. How do you figure out where to go? And one of the most tried and tested rules is you look for a place that's busy. First of all, when others are doing something, we think it's a pretty good idea. When we're not sure about what restaurant to try, we look to what others are doing and assume that if they're doing it, it must be good. If the restaurant's full, it must be tasty. If the restaurant's empty, it must not be very good. But if we can't see what others are doing, we can't imitate them. And so the phrase monkey see, monkey do has really important things in it, right? It doesn't just say that we imitate others, it says that we have to see what others are doing to be able to imitate it. And that's the idea of public. The more public or something is, or the more observable someone else's behavior is, the easier it is to imitate. If we can see what others are doing, we can imitate it, but if we can't see what they're doing, we can't do the same thing. Think back 10, 15 years ago when we used to have Discmen, right, as the way people listened to their music. So they'd carry around music on CDs and they'd play it through a Discman. And then new technology came out, right, the MP3 player. And it was a big deal, right, this notion that you don't have to carry CDs, that you can put your music on a digital file. But people weren't really sure if that product would catch on, right? They weren't sure, was it worth investing money in this new device? And there are also just so many companies around making the device, right? There was Rovio and Roxio and Microsoft and Apple. It was really hard to know which standard was going to catch on, which was the right one to invest in. But looking around to others is one way that people help figure out what to do. And so back then, if you looked around, let's say on the subway, for example, on the bus to work, and you looked around at what player people were using, you couldn't really tell, right? Whether someone was using a Sony player or a Microsoft player, everyone had darkly colored headphones, right? All the headphones were black. It's hard to know what other people were using, and hard to then use their choice as an information for your own choice. Apple did something very simple. They made their headphones white. Right? Now, suddenly you right away knew how many other people were using that product. By looking around and counting the number of white headphones on the bus or subway, you could see how popular the product was, and if it was popular, get some evidence that it was probably good for you as well. And that's the idea of social proof, right? If other people are doing something, it's probably good for you as well. And so something as simple as making that color of the headphones easier for people to see, making it more public, made it more likely to catch on and become popular.